Welcome to the course of Unix and Shell Programming. Myself G. Prashanti, Vignan's Lara Institute of Technology and Science, Department of Information Technology. So this course is for 3rd BTech first sem. In today's class, we are going to study about the introduction of ls command and similarly how to do the command substitution and multiple commands. Okay, so ls command is used to get a list of files. Okay, so to get the list of files and directories, we can use command is used to get the list of files and directories. Okay, so to know what are the files and directories that are stored, okay, to know the files and directories that are stored, we can use the ls command. Okay, so here there are some options for the ls command. So here to display one file per line, we can use the option -1. Okay, so ls -1. When we say ls space -1, okay, all the files and directories that are stored will be displayed one file per line. Okay, so if you simply say ls command, okay, if you simply say ls command, so what is that? If we simply say ls command, okay, so all the files and directories will be displayed in rows and columns. Okay, so like 1.c, a.out, okay, so in that way, and similarly in next line, so in rows and columns the output will be displayed. So if you want like in single column, okay, so if you want to have the files in one line, if you want the files, okay, so one file per line. Okay, if you want the files one file per line, then you have to use the ls space -l command. Okay, so and similarly, okay, you are having ls space -l. So ls space -l is used to display all the information about the files and directories. Okay, it gives the detailed information about the files and directories. Okay, so here for example, if you are having like 1.c, okay, it is a file. So when that file was created, okay, when it was last modified, and the time when it was last modified, what is the size of the file, who are the owners of the file, what is the group for the who is the group of that file, and similarly what are the permissions that are having. All these details we can get by using the -l option. Okay, you have to say ls space -l to get the entire information about the files. So here we are having field 1. Okay, so here while getting that entire information, this first field, okay, so that first field specifies the type of the file. Okay, type of the file, like it is a normal file or if it is a directory. Okay, so if we are having an empty hyphen like this, that means that it is a normal file. Okay, if here we are having any D, that means that it is a directory. Okay, the first character represents whether it is a normal file or whether it is a directory. Okay, and similarly file permissions, we are having file permissions also. So after this character we will be having 9 characters. Okay, after first character we will be having 9 characters, where these 9 characters specifies the read, write, execute permissions. Okay, so already we have said there are 3 types of users here. So we will be having like root, or we can say owner, okay, owner of the file, also called as a root or also called as users. Similarly, we are having another category group, and the third category is others. Okay, so others, user, group, and others. Okay, so here for every category, read, write, execute permissions will be given. So for owner, read, write, execute permission is given. For group also read, write, execute permission, and for others also 3 permissions, read, write, execute. Okay, so here whatever the permissions you want, you can give to the file. So here for example, see here, read, write permission is given for owner. Okay, so the user is given only read and write permission. So execute permission is given with a hyphen. Okay, that means that the owner is not having the execute permission. He can only read the file, he can only write the file, or he can only update the file. Okay, so similarly, if you go for the group, so another 3 characters for the group. Okay, where here also the group can read and write, but he is not having the permission to execute. Okay, and similarly, third one we are having the others. Okay, where for others, we are having only the read permission. Okay, only read permission, no write and execute. Okay, so the others cannot be able to write or execute. They can only read the file. Okay, so these are the different permissions that are given. These are said to be the file permissions. Okay, file permissions given to 3 categories: root, or we can say owner, group, and others. Okay, respectively in order. Okay, so first 3 characters represents for owners, next 3 for group, and the remaining 3 for others. Okay, so in order, and whereas the first character represents whether it is a normal file or whether it is a directory. Okay, if it is a directory, then it is represented by D. If it is a normal file, then it is represented by a simple hyphen. Okay, and next coming to the that is the first field where file permissions. Okay, so file permissions. Next, second field. So this is the second field where field 2 specifies the number of links. Okay, so the number of links to this file called as the 1.c. So for this file 1.c, the number of links. Okay, so since here 1, that means that there is 1 link to this file. Okay, so and field 3. Okay, field 3 specifies the owner. Okay, who is the owner of this file? That field 3 is specified by the owner. So this is the owner. Here the owner owner of the file is nothing but the Mahavik. Okay, so similarly field 4. Field 4 specifies the group. Okay, so these are the group. Okay, these group members can also access the file. Okay, so this is the group. And similarly next we are having is the so next we are having is the field 5, where field 5 says the size. Okay, so it is the size of the file in bytes. Okay, so and field 6. So this is the field 6, where field 6 specifies the last modification of the file. Okay, when it has been last modified. Okay, the time and the date when it has been last modified, that is represented in the field 6. And finally field 7. Okay, field 7 is the file name. Okay, so this is the file name. Okay, so this is the time and date. Okay, this is the time and date when the file has been last modified. Okay, and this field represents the group, who are the group that can access the file, and this represents the owner, who is the owner of the file. Okay, and this one represents the links to this file. Okay, how many links that you are having to this file, that is represented in this way. Okay, and these are nothing but the permissions to the files. Okay, so permissions to the file, and the first character. Okay, and the first character represents whether it is a normal file or whether it is a directory. If it is a normal file, it is represented by a simple hyphen. Okay, and all these are the permissions to the owner, group, and others. Okay, so that is about the ls command, where by using that ls space minus l command, you will be getting the entire details of the file, like who are having the permissions for accessing the file, who is the owner of the file, who is the group of the file. Okay, when the file has been last updated, what is the size of the file. All these details we can get by using the ls space minus l command. Okay, it is said to be the long listing command. Okay, so that is about the ls command, where we have given a simple introduction about ls command, where by using ls command we can get the list of the files and directories. Okay, so if you want the entire details, okay, if you want a complete information of the files, then you have to simply say ls space minus l. Okay, so it gives the entire information about the file. So next topic is command substitution. Okay, so command substitution is used to assign the output. Okay, so it is used to assign the output of a command to a variable. Okay, normally what happens that when you execute any command, when you issue any command, the output will be displayed on monitor. Okay, so for example, suppose you are saying ls. Okay, when you issue this command, whatever the files and directories that are displayed on the screen. Okay, so but now what I want to do is that whatever be the output of the command, the output should be assigned to a variable. Okay? So to assign a variable, to assign the output of a command to a variable, we can use the command substitution. Okay, so command substitution is used to assign the output. So output of a command. So the output of the command I want to assign to a variable instead of displaying on the monitor. Okay, so in that case we can use the command substitution. Okay, so command substitution can be done in two ways. Okay, so the first one is that whatever the command you want to give, that has to be placed in back quotes. Okay, so if you want to use like if you want to assign the calendar to a particular variable, then you have to say cal command in back quotes. Okay, so or you can use the dollar command with the braces. Okay, so by giving that also you can do the command substitution. Okay, so these are the two different ways in which we can do the command substitution. Okay, so here this is the example for the back quotes. So what I have done is that I have used the command. This is the command. Already we have seen the date command. Date command is used to display the current day and time. Okay, it displays the current day and time. Okay, so what I did is date equal to, in back quotes I have said date. So the output of this command will be stored in the date. Okay, so the output of this command will be stored in the date variable. So this is the variable. Okay, so this is a variable and this is the command. Okay, so this is the command and this is the variable. So the date command will be stored in the date variable. Okay, after that I am saying echo date is $date. Okay, so what this echo command will be doing is that this echo command now displays it. Okay, so date is, this is the text I have given. So date is, so whatever the date, okay, whatever the current date that is stored in the date variable will be displayed here. Okay, so that is the one example of command substitution. If you want the output of the command to be stored in the variable, you have to use the command substitution. Okay, so where you can do by back quotes also. Whatever the command that you want, that has to be given in back quotes. Okay, the output of this command will be stored in the variable. So here the output of this command will be stored in the variable. Okay, after that by using the echo command I am displaying the output. Okay, so another method. Okay, so another is the second method for doing the command substitution is $command. Okay, so same example now. So here now is a variable. Okay, so variable in which I am going to store the output of the date command. Okay, so dollar brackets braces I am giving the date command. Okay, so this is the command here. Okay, now what happens, the date command will be executed and the output of that command will be stored in the now variable. Okay, the output of this command will be stored in this variable. Now by using the echo command, I am displaying on the screen. Okay, so this is the echo command. By using the echo command, the output is displayed on the screen. Okay, so similarly, that is same example, echo. If you want, we can give directly also. If you don't want to store, okay, if you don't want to store in a variable, you can give the direct way also. Okay, echo today is $date. Okay, this is the command substitution. Okay, this is the command substitution. Okay, so where here echo today is $date, so automatically that command will be executed and it will be displayed on the screen. Okay, so that is about the command substitution, where command substitution So can be done by using the back quotes, okay, or by using the dollar symbol within the braces. Okay, the command should be given in the back quotes or in the braces of the dollar symbol. Okay, so okay, that is about the command substitution. Okay, next topic is multiple commands. Okay, so running, we need to run. Okay, so here we need to run multiple commands at a time. Okay, so we need to run multiple commands at a time where the commands can be depend on each other or not. Okay, sometimes the commands may be, multiple commands may be dependent on each other, and sometimes it is not dependent on each other also. Okay, whatever be the case, we can run the multiple commands on a single command line. Okay, for running those multiple commands, we are having several operators here. Okay, we are having several operators here to run multiple commands at a time. Okay, and running these multiple commands at a time is said to be the command chain. Okay, running these multiple commands at a time is said to be the command chaining. And to run this command chaining, okay, and to run these multiple commands at a time, we will be having some operators. Okay, so now let's go what are the different operators that are available to run multiple commands at a time. Okay, so the first operator here is semicolon operator. Okay, so by using this semicolon operator, we can run multiple commands in a single statement. Okay, so here semicolon operator is used for running two or more unrelated commands. Okay, so here it is not necessary that the whatever the commands that you are giving, those are related. Okay, so you can run the unrelated commands also, and these commands are separated by using the semicolon. Okay, so whatever the commands, multiple commands that you want to run, those commands are separated by using the semicolon operator. Okay, so here whatever the output, okay, so here the output of each command does not depend on the other commands. Okay, so here the output of this file, the output of this command does not depend on this, and similarly the output of this does not depend on it. Okay, so each command is independent. There is no relation between the commands. Okay, so in the following example, let's see this example. So in the following example, three types of commands are combined together. Okay, so here I have taken three commands. We have a cat command, cat myfile.txt. Okay, so what it will be doing? It will be displaying the contents that are stored in this file. Okay, so mkdir means that creating the new directory. Okay, so it creates a new directory with the name new dir. Okay, and the third command is cd desktop, that is the changing the directory. Okay, so if you are presently in one directory, you want to move to another directory, then you can give the cd. Okay, then it changes to the directory called as the desktop. Okay, so you will be moving from present directory to the other directory called as the desktop directory. Okay, so these are the three commands. Okay, the first command is displaying the contents of a file. The second command is creating. Okay, so the second command is creating a directory, and third command is changing to the other directory. Okay, so here the failure of each command. So if suppose any one command fails, it does not affect the other command. Okay, so suppose this command has executed, okay, no problem. This command has failed. Okay, so if this command has failed, then also no problem. The third command will be executing. Okay, so if any one command fails, it does not affect the other command. Okay, so each command will be executed indirectly. It will be each command will be executed independently. Okay, so here first command will be executed. If it is success, it displays the contents. Okay, so second command executed, it failed, so it will be displaying an error message. Okay, so third command will be executed. Okay, so in that way each command will be executed, and failure of any command does not affect on the other command. Okay, so that is the first operator, semicolon operator, used for running multiple commands at a time. Okay, so this is the example, cat myfile.txt, and then we have created a directory, and then we move to another directory. Okay, so here the first file is the first command is successful and the contents is displayed. Okay, the contents of the file is displayed. The contents of the file is, this is a testing file. Okay, so this is the output for this file. Okay, so the second one is mkdir new directory. It is also executed. That means that it has created a new directory. Okay, it has created a directory with the name new dir. Okay, so and similarly the third command is also executed successfully, because since you have changed it to another directory, so that is why it is showing here the desktop. Okay, so previously if you see here the directory is still this one. Okay, but since you have changed it to the directory desktop, that is why you have got here desktop and the cursor symbol. That means that presently you are in the directory called as the desktop. Okay, so that is the first operator, semicolon operator, where the commands are separated by semicolon. Of one command does not affect the second command. Okay, so the second operator is the AND operator. Okay, so here the AND operator, it is the multiple commands can be run by the logical AND. Okay, so here we can run multiple commands by using the logical AND. Okay, so here where the commands are related to each other. In the if the previous command is not executed successfully, then the next command will not work. Okay, so see here, if the first command, okay, if the previous command is not executed successfully, then the next command will not work. Okay, so suppose these are the two commands. So this is one command and this is another command. Okay, where in the command 1 we are creating a directory, and where in command 2 we are removing a directory. Okay, so here in AND operation what happens is that if the command will not execute, if this command does not execute, okay, if there is any error in this command, then this command will also not execute. Okay, so that is the AND operation. Okay, so here in the example, okay, so if the mkdir command is failed to execute successfully, that means that it has failed execution. Okay, so if it has failed, then then the rmdir is not executed. That means that it is also failed. Okay, so that is the AND operator. If the first command fails, that means that the second command will not be executed. Okay, so here this is the example. So this is the example where the two commands are separated by the AND operation. Okay, so here first I have said the ls command. Okay, when I have said the ls command, so it will be displaying mydir and temp. These are the two directories that are present. Okay, so when I am saying mkdir when I am saying this command, okay, so here this command has failed, mkdir has failed. Okay, so since it has failed, so it has said cannot create directory. Okay, so since it has failed, it is saying that cannot create directory. Okay, so when I am saying again ls command, see here the temp variable is there only. Okay, so this has not executed. Okay, this has not executed. Okay, rmdir means that removing the directory. The temp directory is not removed, so it is still existing. Okay, so since mkdir, so this command has not executed, so rmdir has also not executed. Okay, so and we can see that when ls command we are giving, so the temp directory is still existing. Okay, so that is about the AND operation. Okay, similarly we are having the OR operator also. Okay, so where in the OR operator, okay, so the next command will execute if the previous fails. Okay, so if the previous command fails, then the next command will be executed. Okay, it is the reverse of that AND operation. Okay, it is the reverse of the AND operation, or we can say opposite of the AND operation. Okay, so here you can see that cat. Okay, so I am saying that cat space cat.txt. It is a file name. Okay, so it failed. Okay, so since it failed, this second command is executed. Okay, again it failed. Okay, so that also failed, since there is no such file and directory. Okay, there is no such file and directory, so it is not able to display any contents of that particular file. Okay, so again this is also failed, and then you are going to the third command. Okay, so that command is executed. So here there are some contents in the file, and those contents are displayed here. Okay, so these are the contents of this third file. That means that this third command is executed. Okay, so that is the OR operation, that is the reverse of your AND operation. Where here, so if the next command is executed only if the previous command fails. Okay, so that is the OR operator. And similarly, you can use multiple operators. Okay, so here I have used the multiple operators, OR operator and AND operator. You can use multiple. Okay, so here what happens? So here, even if this command fails, okay, so even if this command fails, this will be executed. Okay, so if this is executed, then automatically this will be executed. This entire thing will be executed when this command fails. Okay, it is a combination of AND and OR operator. Okay. Okay, so this is the example. See here, a CD new directory. Okay, so CD new directory, it failed because there is no file with new dir. Okay, so there is no file with new dir, so that is why it is not able to change to the directory new dir. Okay, so since it has failed, it is executing the next one. Now it is creating the new directory. Okay, since that new dir file does not exist, okay, it failed. So now we are creating a new directory, and since it is executed, okay, since it is executed, so again it will be displaying that echo directory is created. That means that these two statements will be executed. Okay, so that is what we are getting here. This is your command 1, where your command 1 failed, since there is no such file or directory. Okay, so and that directory is created since mkdir has been executed. So that you are coming to this command 3 is executed, that is echo directory is created. Okay, so when you are giving the ls command, see, when you are giving your ls command, so you are getting a new directory. Okay, now new directory is created, where here you don't have that new dir. Now the new dir directory is created. Okay, so you can use the multiple operators also for giving the multiple commands. Okay, so and the last one is the precedence operator. Okay, so here in what precedence operator, each group. So here your commands are grouped here. Okay, so here grouping the commands. Okay, we are grouping the commands here, and each group will work as a single task. Okay, so this is entire group will be one task, and this entire group will be another task. Okay, so in the following example, two groups are defined. If the first group fails, okay, so if the first group fails to execute, then the second group will execute. Why? Because since we are given here OR operation. Okay, since we have given as OR operation, so if this group fails, then this will be executed. Okay, so that is the precedence operator represented by braces, where we will be grouping the commands. Okay, so this is the example. See here, first we have said ls command, where we are having two directories, midir and new dir. Okay, so now we are going to change cd temp. That means that we want to move to the directory temp, but that temp directory does not exist. Okay, this temp directory does not exist. That means that it is a fail. That means that the command is a fail. So since this has failed, now this will be executed. Okay, so there is no directory with temp. Now we are creating the directory. Okay, now we are creating the directory and we are saying ls command, and then it will be displaying all the directories. Okay, now we can see this new dir. Okay, sorry, and now we can see this temp. Okay, it does not exist here, but now it exists. That means that temp directory has been created now. Okay, so that is the precedence operator where we will be grouping the commands. Okay, so grouping the commands and the it will be created. Okay, where we will be grouping the commands. Okay, so in today's class we have seen about the ls command. Okay, a short introduction about the ls command, where ls is used for listing the files and directories. Okay, and also we have seen ls space -l, so to give the entire information about the files and directories. Okay, and similarly we have seen the command substitution, where command substitution can be done by backquotes and also by $symbol and the braces. Okay, so by giving the command within the quotes and braces, we can do the command substitution. Okay, and the third one is multiple commands, where in a single command line we can run the multiple commands by using the operators like or operators and operator. Okay, semicolon by using semicolon. Okay, and using the multiple operators and by using the precedence. Okay, by using them we can run multiple commands at a time. Okay, thank you.